Do you ever get that annoying feeling where once you've become aware of something, you can't quite unsee it anymore? That's what I want to talk about today, but not in a physical sense, but more in a spiritual sense. So, what is good, YouTube? It's your boy, Tey Out of the Way, coming back at you with another video. So, what I want to talk about in today's video is that I feel like I'm receiving a message from the universe. Now, I'm not necessarily one for spirituality in this sense of the new age, like believing in rocks and that kind of thing. However, the original meaning of putting something out into the universe and doing the work, and the universe rewarding you for your efforts, I do believe in. But I've had too many coincidences in my lifetime, especially recently, to keep calling them a coincidence. So when I first got into self improvement about 3 years ago, so when I was 19, I was working in a retail shop called Superdrug in the UK, which is a big cosmetic store. And I was one of the youngest workers in there at the time that was an adult. So everyone was my senior by 5 to 10 years, probably. And I remember having a conversation with one of my colleagues, and through that conversation, it made me realize that I'm destined for more. Not that I felt better than them or that they were beneath me, but I just had a feeling inside that I wasn't going to be doing this for the rest of my life. And it had no direction. I still don't know what gave me that thought or what's going to make me the person that I think I'm going to be, but I just knew that I couldn't stay at the bottom of the barrel anymore. And as of late, obviously, I've been trying to do YouTube. I've been very inconsistent, and that's just due to me getting a job and the 9 to 5 excuses creeping in. The I'm too tired to do this after work, and oh, there's not enough time in the day. But I'm trying to stop making excuses and just do it. And funnily enough, the moment that I started thinking about it or putting action towards actually putting stuff out is when I began to meet a lot of people that were relevant to the field. So from young, I've always known this guy called Alex, and Alex is a big TikTok influencer. And I was cool with him in school, and then we kind of lost contact when he went to uni. But then, strangely enough, his younger brother, who I knew, me and him become quite cool. I'd always see him around, and I'd always check in on him and that kind of thing. And he started doing content as well. And he was like the first person I knew to like do it on like personally, not just someone that I've heard of or whatever. And he was like the first person I met that really was doing it before it was massive. And watching his content and his evolution as a person is quite interesting to me because he's able to have deep philosophical conversations that I've only recently just been able to attain due to the stuff that I've been doing, like the reading and all the self improvement stuff and looking into shadow work. But I'd always ask him for advice and see what he says. And his thing would always be just start. And I got caught up in the loop of doing the productive procrastination, if you want to call it that, where I'm planning, and it feels like you're making progress, but you're actually not making progress because of lack of action. But then, as the time's gone on, I've started to meet more and more people that do content creation full time. And the main person that really like switched my mind being able to do it, I was working at an event, so I do security on the weekends. On this particular night, I believe it was a Skepta Mass Tiempo DJ set, and one of the girls that was working, I met. Her name was Yema. Now, when I was speaking to Yema, her content is very. It's not what you normally think of when you think of like a content creator, where it's fun and it's uplifting. It's actually quite the opposite. So, Yema's whole angle is that basically her best friend was a victim of femicide, which is where um, a woman's boyfriend kills her. And it was weird to hear that that was like, what she was making her content about. Not because of the topic itself, but because obviously content is only usually portrayed one of two ways. It's either usually educational or it's entertainment. And me and her had a really good talk for probably about 3 or 4 hours on that shift, just about my ideas and if I should give it a go. And the thing that made me laugh is that she was really encouraging. And I really thought about it. It's only the people that aren't doing it that discourage you from doing it or talk bad about you doing something different. And then recently I started working in construction, and that started probably about 3 or 4 months ago. And on this construction site, I started alongside another guy called Jamil. And funnily enough, Jamil also turned out to be a content creator. His stuff is a lot more fashion based, but I I kept thinking like, why do I keep getting put in the presence of creatives when I've never been a creative unless I'm being directed towards something? And even funnily enough, so I moved from that original site to another site about 10 minutes down the road. And recently we've started having new people on site, and there's a ground worker called Alex, proper energetic Romanian guy. And I didn't speak to him at first for maybe about a week or two. And then one day I was sitting in the lunch area and we just started talking. And Alex, would you happen to believe it or not, is also a creative, but Alex creates music. And I said to him about the idea of me doing content, and he was also very um, he was also very positive about it and encouraging. And it's nice to see because you think that, or you generally hear that like people want to discourage you, but I think generally a lot of people want to see you win, and especially if they're already creative, I think they want to see you win even more. But at the same time, what if I am drawing lines that aren't necessarily there, and I'm taking taking what I want to see for what I want to see, if you know what I mean? But let me know what you think in the comments below. Am I just forcing a connection? Like, am I making this up, or does it sound like I'm possibly correct in that something higher is trying to guide me down a path.